Welcome. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to format your paper in MLA formatting style. And this video is specifically for Mac Pages. So I'll just be showing you how to do it in Mac Pages. But I'm going to be showing you how to format your paper from scratch. So I'm going to start with a blank document, and by the time you get finished with the video, I will have shown you how to fill out your paper to look just like my essay template here. Okay, so let's get started. So yes, this is Mac OS version 11, Big Sur. So it's the newest update, and I'm working in Mac Pages version 10.3.5. Not a tech person, so I don't even know what all that means, but just to let you know if you know what I'm talking about. So with MLA formatting, usually it needs to be in Times New Roman 12-point font. Your entire essay needs to be double spaced, no more, no less, and you need to have your last name and page number at the top right. So when you're starting from scratch, there's no right or wrong way to begin. You can do your last name and page number first, or you can do your heading. I'm going to go ahead and do my heading first. Okay, so the first line of your essay needs to be your first name and last name. Okay. Oh, one thing before we get started. Another thing about MLA formatting is that your margins need to be 1-inch margins. Top, bottom, left, and right all need to be no more, no less than 1 inch. Okay, and usually when you start a new document in Pages, it's going to look like this, and it's going to have format right here. If you click into document, now like I said, I just opened this document. It was already set to 1 inch, so you should be good to go on that. But just in case you're wondering, this is where you go to check it. But yeah, the whole thing needs to be Times New Roman. But when I opened a new file, it was on Helvetica, so I need to switch from that. So I'm going to select Times New Roman out of all these fonts. Here we go. Times New Roman. Make sure I click on that arrow to bring it to 12. So now my entire essay, once I start writing, is going to be in Times New Roman 12-point font, just like we wanted. So I'm going to type my first and last name. The entire essay needs to be double spaced as well. So to do that, you go to, it's under format that you see, and then under spacing here. You know, if this is ever not expanded like that, that's how you just click on the arrow. But you'll go to line spacing and click on 2. Now every time I hit enter, it's completely double spaced. Okay, you don't want it to be no more, no less than 2 right there in that field. Now the next line of my heading needs to be the professor's name. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's going to be up to your professor what they prefer. But it'll either be professor or Mr. or Mrs. or doctor or something like that. You know, if it's just 2 names, 2 first and last names, it's confusing. So I always have my students just put professor. But there's no formatting thing that you need to worry about. It's just whatever they prefer. Then you hit enter one more time, and the next line is going to be your course designator and number and section. Okay, there's no one way to do this. You know, I've had my students do it several ways. Usually a good bet is to look at your syllabus and see what the course is listed on your syllabus. So the course number on my syllabus says something like this. So if my students did that, I would be perfectly okay with it. But yeah, this could be all caps, or you could spell out English. It doesn't matter with MLA formatting. It's just usually what your professor instructor prefers. Okay, so but we'll go with this English 1301 section 14. Hit enter once, and then the last line of your heading is going to be the day that you wrote the essay. So today's date is December 14th. Now there is only one way they want you to do this. Okay, this is a formatting thing with MLA, so pay attention to this. Okay, you can't just write out the date in any format you want. You have to do the day first, hit space once, then type out the month, and you can't abbreviate the month. Don't just put 3 letters. type out the entire month, no matter what month it is, and then you hit space once, and then you type in the year. And that's how you're supposed to do the date in MLA style, okay? And that is a thing, so you can't just choose how you want to format the date, okay? So there's our complete heading. Our first and last name is the very first line of the essay, okay? I'll talk more about that here in a second. Now once I typed in my date, I hit enter once and it took me here. The next line is going to be the title of the essay. You don't hit enter more than once. You just hit it once, and then you're going to need to center your title. So you're going to go over here to align text to the center. Click on that. I'm going to type in the title of my essay. Okay, and there's rules for MLA titles. So this is what most titles are going to look like. You never bold your title. You never underline it. You don't put quotation marks around it unless it's the name of an album or something like that. But you'll learn that in class. But you just type the name of your title. Then you hit enter once, and you're going to be centered. Now you don't want to start typing out your essay because then it's all going to be centered, and that's not correct. Your entire essay needs to be aligned to the left, except the first line of each paragraph. Okay, so at the beginning of a paragraph, you always hit tab. I see a lot of students hit space a few times. That's incorrect. The first line of your essay needs to be indented 1/2 inch, and you do that by hitting the tab key once. Okay, you just hit it once, and then you start writing your essay. Okay, so but I'll show you how this is going to end up looking. So I'm just going to write some random sentence. Okay, notice how since I hit the tab key, it's indented this 1/2 inch, and then as I started writing, once I got to the end of that line, my sentence spilled over onto the next line, and it's double spaced, no more, no less. But this word that spilled over into the next line is all the way aligned left, and that is what we want. Okay, and you're just going to keep typing your essay, and every sentence in this paragraph will be aligned to the left like that. Now once I'm done with this introductory paragraph, I'm going to hit return, and then I'm going to hit tab again, right? Because I'm starting the first line of the next paragraph, and the first line of every paragraph needs to be indented by 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's how that works. Now for our basic essay, we have just about everything we need, except we're missing our last name and page number. Okay, and your last name and page number do not go on the first line. I see a handful of students trying to type in their last name and then hit tab until it goes all the way over there, or even worse, typing in their last name and then hitting space bar until it goes all the way to the right. That's not correct. Your last name and page number can't be on the same line as your heading. If you do that, your instructor will notice and you'll get points taken off. Okay, the last name and page number need to go in the header of the essay, and in Pages, it's actually kind of easier for beginners, I believe, because whenever you go over it, you can at least see it. This is the header of your essay. Okay, and if I hit, notice, so my little pointer is in the essay right now, right in the body of the essay. If I hit the up arrow, it doesn't do anything. Because I can't go any higher than the first line of the essay. Also, well, let's see, if I click into it, okay, well, in Pages, all you have to do is click into it once. In other programs, you have to double click into the header. But with Pages, in this version of Pages, all I actually have to do is click into the header once. And this is actually pretty easy for me. So I want to insert the page number, so let's go ahead and click on this, and it's going to give you all these choices. With MLA, you're just going to click on that first choice because you don't want it to say 1 of 1 or page or anything like that. You just click on the page number. Now, one thing I want to show you right now, though, is whenever I change the font in the body of the essay, it only changed the body of the essay. Notice now that this 1 is actually a different font. It's Helvetica again. So I need to highlight this. I'm hitting Shift and I'm going over the page number. And I need to, now that I have it highlighted, I'm going to go to Font and I'm going to pick Times New Roman again. Since I picked it once, I can just scroll up to the very top and I don't have to scroll through everything all over again. But I'm making sure that it's Times New Roman, it's regular, and it's 12 point, so we're good there. Now I'm going to click and I'm going to go ahead and type in my last name and hit space once. You want one space between your last name and the page number. Okay? Oh, oops. Actually, this needs to say Smith, doesn't it? Okay, there you go. So there you have it. There is the basic MLA style. Now, let me show you, though. The reason why we have you insert the page number like that and type your last name is because now, whenever you are writing subsequent paragraphs and you're writing your essay, as you go along, your essay is going to spill over to the next page. Well, if you did your last name and page number correctly, it's going to automatically populate your last name and the page number on every single following page. And it's really convenient, and you don't have to line these up and keep hitting enter, and every time you change something have to worry about that. Okay, it's just easy as you go along. It just enters it on the very beginning, top right of every page, just like you need an MLA style. Okay, so that's why we have you do it that way. Yeah, actually, another way to enter the page number is to go to Insert at the top. If you click on Insert, come down to Page Number. That's the second way to do that, other than that convenient way that I showed you here. Now, some people just put in the page number right there. They just type in 1, thinking that that's going to help them, right? But if I did that manually, notice now that every time I go to another page, it's going to say 1 again. So you don't want to do that manually. And if I tried to change this to 2, now when you look back, now it changed that to 2. And you're just it's gonna be really frustrating, and there's no way to change that manually. It's just gonna be whatever you say it to be. So you need to go to Insert Page Number. That's the way to do it. Okay, don't try to do it manually. It won't fix it like you need it to be. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, we've got our basic MLA formatted essay. Everything is no more, no less than double space. We've got 1-inch margins. Times New Roman 12 point. Now, if you are in an English 1302 class, or you're writing a research paper for 1301 or anything like that, you're going to need if you cite some outside source, right? You're going to need to cite your source with an in-text citation, and then you're going to need to put the bibliographical information, bibliographical information on a Works Cited page. And the Works Cited page needs to be its own page at the very last page of the essay, okay? You can't just start a Works Cited page here after a couple paragraphs. It needs to be its own page, all right? So now, I think some students try to just type in Works Cited and then hit enter until it goes down to the next page, but that's doing it the hard way, okay? The best way to do it is to go to Insert up at the top and then click on Page Break. Okay. Actually, I don't think you could see that. So yeah, you click on Insert right here. You can also do it up at the top of the thing, but you click on Insert Page Break, okay? And this now before you hit Insert Page Break, you need to be at the last line. If I put a page break in the middle of this sentence, it's going to cut the sentence in half, right? So you go to the last line of your essay, hit Insert Page Break. Now that has put a page break into your essay. If you actually hold down space and you arrow over to it, you'll see that here's the invisible page break. And if I were to like go over here and start hitting delete, I would actually delete that, and it would get rid of the page break, just so you know. But anyways, it's inserted a page break there, okay? And everything before that page break is going to be on this page. Everything after it is going to be on this next separate page. And that's how you want to set up your Works Cited page. So, the title of your Works Cited page is Works Cited. So just like any title, you hit center, type in Works Cited. Okay. I'm going to hit enter. once. We're still double spaced, so we're good to go. Hit align left, and then I'm going to start typing in the I've messed this one up. This needs to be the first. This needs to be the first one of my. There we go. Yeah, you want to make sure that Works Cited is the first line of your Works Cited page. Okay, so I typed in Works Cited. Now I'm going to type in all the bibliographical information for all my external sources. I went ahead and copied and pasted them, so you don't have to sit here and watch me type every single one. The title of all your books needs to be in italics. Okay. Works Cited is just like your title in all your essays. It's not going to be underlined or bolded or bigger than anything else. It's just Times New Roman. Okay. Now, if you were to do a Works Cited page that had just one entry in it, it's just going to say Works Cited. Okay. If it has more than one entry, it's going to say Works Cited. Okay. Now, here's how you do your entries. I'm not going to teach you MLA formatting for these, but I do want to just say a couple things about it. For one, the author's last name, for one, your entries are going to be in alphabetical order, okay? And you see I've got them set up that way here. This is actually three separate entries. Now, the author's last name is going to be aligned all the way to the right. I think some students intuitively think that because the first line of every paragraph is indented, so also should their first line of each entry be indented, but that's not correct. The author's last name should be all the way aligned left. Okay, so I don't hit tab here. We don't want a half-inch indentation there. You just start on the all the way aligned left. You just start typing in your entry, and then when you're done with your entry, you hit enter once, right? And then you're going to go to the next one. You start typing that in. Now notice that this second entry, the Handbook of English Grammar, took more than one line. Okay, and now all of these entries should be no more, no less than double space. So we don't want more space in between entries. It's just going to be double space. And even the entry itself, this shouldn't be non-double space, like just one space in between there. You don't want it closer just because it's on the same entry. It's all double space, no more, no less. Okay. Now, but the second or the third or any subsequent line of your single entry needs to be indented a half an inch. Okay. And the easiest way to do that in Pages is to just hit tab once. Okay, that's all you have to do. In other programs, it's more difficult, but in Pages, for some reason, it's really easy. All you have to do is go to that second, third, fourth line and hit tab, and there you go. This is how your Works Cited page should look. Okay, and just so you know, there's all sorts of rules about the type of information to include in your books and articles and all that. So you need to figure out how to do that in class. But this is how your essay should look. Like we said, 1 inch margins, no more, no less than 1 inch. Top, bottom, left, right. You need a heading with all these things. Your date has to be in this format. Everything's in Times New Roman. Your title of your essay is no more, no less than one double space from the heading and the first line of the essay. We've got our last name and page number on all of our pages, and we got a Works Cited page if we use external sources. That's how they should all look in MLA formatting. So I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to cover some program that you are using that I don't have in the videos, then let me know. But yeah, I hope this video helps, and I hope you have a great day.